Hey everyone, welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I want to start today with a question that might sound simple, but if you really sit with it, it's probably one of the most important questions I believe you could ever ask yourself. And the question is, what does your dream life actually look like? Not the version that sounds good on Instagram, not the version your parents would approve of, not the version that society told you is successful, but your version. Because what I've seen is that a lot of people are working really, really hard, building businesses, chasing goals, hitting milestones, and they've never actually defined what they're building toward. So they wake up one day and they have success on paper, but they don't feel fulfilled. And so today I want to walk you through how to change that because your dream life isn't something you stumble into. It's something that you design. And most importantly, it's something that you lead. Now, most people are building by default, not by design. And so what I found is that most people aren't really intentionally building their life. They sort of are reacting their way into it. They choose careers based on safety. They build businesses based on what makes money. They structure their days based on urgency, not intention. And then they wonder why they feel disconnected. Well, one of the most important books that speaks to this is Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. And it talks about how most people live one version of life when there are actually multiple versions available to them, but they never pause long enough to explore that. And this is where leadership comes in, because leadership isn't just about leading a team, it's about leading your life first. If you're not clear on where you're going, your business will never take you there. So clarity is the starting point of your dream life. And it comes from asking better questions. So instead of asking, what should I do with my life? Start asking questions like, well, what kind of life do I actually want to wake up to? How do I want to feel on a daily basis? What does success look like beyond money? Because here's the truth. If you don't define success, you will inherit someone else's version of it. And that's where people lose fulfillment. Now, a resource I love here is The Big Leap, and it's written by Gay Hendricks. And he talks about your zone of genius and how many people stay stuck in what they're good at instead of what actually lights them up. And the gap, well, that's where your dream life is sitting. Now, I believe that your dream life must include all three pillars. And the three pillars that I'm really passionate about is leadership, fulfillment, and growth. Because I feel like your dream life works when it's built on those combined together. And most people over-index on one. So they chase growth, but then they burn out. They chase fulfillment and then avoid responsibility. They try to lead, but don't do the inner work. And so, in my opinion, your dream life really requires all three. So let me break this down. Let's kick off with leadership. And this is really how I see you, the version of you that shows up. So this is your standards, your discipline, your ability to follow through. And what I found is that your dream life will always require a version of you that you haven't become yet. And leadership is what closes that gap. Now, I've referenced Atomic Habits by James Clear quite a bit on this podcast. And the reason why is that he talks a lot about identity-based habits. And I feel like identity is so powerful in getting that clarity on who we're becoming and becoming the type of person who lives that life. Now, the second one is the fulfillment piece. And this is where most high performers really struggle. They build success, but they forget to build a life. And so what I've seen is that fulfillment doesn't come from achievement. It comes from alignment. So alignment with your values, your time, your energy, your relationships. And so if your business is growing, but your life feels heavy, then you're out of alignment. And then the third pillar is the growth piece. And I really believe growth is that engine. But it has to be intentional, because what I found is that growth without direction leads to exhaustion, and growth with purpose leads to expansion. And so your dream life should stretch you, but not cost you yourself. Now, if your calendar doesn't reflect it, it's not real. And this is where I'm really honest when I'm coaching people. Because here's what I found is that your dream life is not built in your vision. It's truly built in your calendar. So you can say that you want freedom, but if your calendar is packed with things you don't enjoy, that's your real life. You can say that you want more time with your family, but if your business consumes your evenings and your weekends, that's your real life. And this is where most people disconnect. They dream one thing, but they schedule another. And a great concept here comes from time auditing. So this is where you want to track your week and look at where your time is actually going, and then compare it to your dream life vision. And the gap, well, that's the work that we need to put in. Now, the hidden block for a lot of people is the fear of actually getting what you want. It's crazy, right? And this is a really big one. We often think of fear of, fear of uncertainty, but sometimes it actually can be this fear of accomplishment or fear of success or fear of us actually creating this life. And what I found is that sometimes people don't build their dream life because they're afraid of it. They're often afraid of things like responsibility, visibility, change, outgrowing people, failing at a bigger level. And so there's a good book that I mentioned earlier in this podcast called The Big Leap. And again, it talks about the upper limit problem. So we self-sabotage at the end, at the edge of sort of that expansion. So we stay busy instead of intentional. We stay comfortable instead of aligned. And this is where growth and mindset come together, because your dream life isn't just built through strategy, it's built through identity. Now, designing your dream life backwards is one of the most powerful ways to build the dream life that you see is the reverse engineering of it. So if you start here and you think, if everything worked out in 3 to 5 years, what does your life look like? And be really specific. Where are you living? What does your day look like? Who are you spending time with? What kind of business are you running? How much are you working? And then ask, who do I need to become to live that life? And then asking ourselves, well, what does that version of me do daily? And that becomes your roadmap. And this is how you turn dreaming into doing. Now, your business should support your life, not replace it. And so, especially as a leadership and as a small business coach, strategy coach, it's so many people leave their 9 to 5 to build a business, and then they end up creating something that owns them even more. And that's not the goal most of the time. So your business should be a vehicle for your freedom, a tool for your impact, a reflection of your values, not a cage. And so this is why systems matter. This is why leadership matters. This is why clarity matters. Because without those, you don't build a dream life. You just build another job. And you don't need to have it all figured out. So let's remove some pressure. And so what I've seen is that people often wait too long to start because they think they need to have full clarity. Well, you don't. You just need direction. You need willingness. You need action. And clarity comes from movement, not from overthinking. So are you actually building it? Well, here's the real question. Are you building your dream life, or are you just hoping it happens? Because that's what I've seen often too, is that hope is not a strategy. Leadership is. So your choices today, your time, your habits, your environment, your business decisions, they are either moving you closer or further away. Now, if this is something you're realizing you need support with, I want to invite you into something that we've built intentionally for this. The LFG Business Academy on Skool is completely free to join. Inside, you are going to get training on how to build a business that actually supports your life, leadership frameworks, growth strategies, and a community of people who are in it with you. And we also have a free mini leadership series inside there that walks you through how to start thinking and operating like the CEO of your life and your business. And honestly, this is exactly what I'm building toward with my book launching this fall. Because this conversation we had today, this is the foundation. It's not just about building a business. It's about building a life. So I'll leave you with this. Your dream life is not something reserved for someday. It's something that you create through the way you lead, the way that you live, and the way that you grow. So take a moment after this episode and actually define it. Because once you see it clearly, you can start building it intentionally. And that is when everything changes. So I'll see you next time on your Dream Coach podcast.